Good morning. My name is Brett Kisker. I'm the Executive Director of Northland CAPS, and I'm also a member of the Northland Education and Business Alliance, or NEBA. And NEBA is a network of education and business organizations in Clay and Platte counties in Missouri, whose vision is to promote and provide business-driven educational opportunities for you, which you're our next generation of business leaders. So I'll be your host during this session, but we have two other NEBA members working in the background. We have Adam Jelinek, who works for Magna LMV Automotive, and you can see on the screen. And we also have Julie Lewis from the Clay County EDC, who is working behind the scenes and off camera to help make sure that this event runs smoothly. Just a few quick notes before we introduce our guest speakers for this session. The session is going to run for 40 minutes with a hard stop at 8:40. And our industry experts will begin by sharing their professional history and insight, but we want this to feel more like a conversation. So at the bottom of your screen, you should see a Q&A feature. And what we encourage you to do is use that space to post any questions that you might have at any point in the session. We might not be able to get to them all, but we're going to do our best. And when the session ends, you'll be able to take a very short survey that allows us to have some feedback from you on this event so we can get better at hosting things like this in the future. Last but not least, this session will be recorded and available online in the near future. So, okay, let's get started. First of all, I would like to introduce our two speakers today for this session. You mute. We have two speakers here that we would like to introduce. The first one is Susan Brown from Central Bank, and I'll let her talk about her title in a second. And then we also have Davin Gordon from AltCap. Thank you so much for joining us today. Susan, why don't you go ahead and start?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Awesome. So my name is Susan Brown. I work for Central Bank of the Midwest. My offices are up in Platte City, and but I work all over the metro. I am a business solutions relationship manager, and basically it just means that I work with our business customers and help set them up with a lot of electronic services lately. We've been super busy as businesses are pivoting and needing to transfer money more electronically and not in person. So it's a lot of fun. I've been doing it for about 6 years. My background, my education is I have a degree from the University of Missouri in Columbia in finance, but I started my first year, I went to a small college in Columbia called Stevens College. I was a theater major. I was going to be a big star, and and obviously that didn't work out. But I think there's a lot of salespeople that are, frustrated actors and actresses. So anyway, I wanted to tell you that just so you know that I don't know that any of us know what we want to do. Many of us don't know what we want to do when we're your age or when we're in high school or even in college. And I certainly didn't. I went from theater major to accounting major. I got a C in my first accounting class. And I was like, this is not for me. And then I eventually went into finance. And then I've ended up most of my career in more sales oriented stuff. So my first job was for a national consumer products company in sales, and I loved that. It was awesome. And then I stayed home with my children for 10 years. And I also wanted to tell you that there's nothing wrong with your career going up and down and in and out of the career, whether you're in and out of the workforce, whether you're male or female. It worked out just fine for me. After that, I helped start a business. So I was an entrepreneur for another 10 years. I was a part owner in a solar company. We did rooftop solar panel installation. So I sold my shares in that business about 6 years ago. Realized that I'm not really cut out to be an entrepreneur. I enjoy helping them. So pivoted into banking, and this has been perfect for me because I can relate to what small businesses, big businesses are going through, what the challenges are, and I can help them through that. But I don't have to take all the risk and, be up all, 24 hours a day thinking about the business. I can go home at 5 and live a happy little life. So that, but I also do get a little bit of taste in it. I have, my husband and I have a real estate business. We invest in real estate. We do some Airbnbs and that sort of thing. So I still get a little taste of it on the side. So I think that's all I have, Brett. Is that, I don't know if that's all you wanted us to say or where you want me to go from there. But that's it for me.
That's wonderful. We have all sorts of questions. So great introduction. Davin, if you could unmute your mic and introduce yourself, we'd appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. Good morning, everybody. As Brett mentioned, my name is Davin Gordon. I am I actually have gotten a small promotion since we've created this background for me, but I'm actually the Senior Business Development Officer at AltCap. For those that don't know who AltCap is, we are a community development financial institution. So we're not like Susan to my left, but we do provide financing for small business owners. So we partner very closely with folks like Susan and Central Bank, because the banking, our bank institutions, unfortunately, don't have the ability to take on a lot of the risks that she was talking about for these entrepreneurs. And so entrepreneurs, just like anybody else, also need access to capital. And so that is the sort of role that we like to play. We don't like to compete with our banks. We like to be partners. We like to let them know that we're kind of a stepping stone. We're kind of, the junior college before you go to the university, or however, whatever metaphor you want to use, the minor leagues before you get to the major leagues. So our goal is to get them to the major leagues and to see them grow and prosper and create jobs and build wealth for their families. A little bit about my background. So I grew up in a single parent household, and I wanted to share that for any of the students out there that, have any sort of personal challenges or, things in the house. I think we all experience different things, but I think that's what makes you unique, makes you stronger. And so I've actually been working since I've been 13. I started as a busboy at a restaurant. Then I worked at a hardware store pretty much all through high school. Strasser, shout out to Strasser. And then for undergrad, I went to Rockhurst University. I studied finance and accounting, very similar to Suzanne. After going through college, I really wasn't extremely passionate about accounting. I just knew accountants made a lot of money. So that's what really motivated me. And I think, as you continue to grow and to, learn more about yourself, you'll figure out what you're passionate about, what motivates you. I think we all have, different things in our life that motivate us, whether that be money or impact, or, there's so many different things that can motivate you. So through my undergrad, I actually worked at Costco. That was probably one of my most favorite just memories, job opportunities, working at the Midtown Costco. I picked up trash, I pushed carts, and then also got my undergrad, also had an internship. So I've just been a hustler my whole life. I recently lost my grandma, and that was something that was talked a lot about at her celebration of life, was how hardworking our family was. So I'm really proud to carry on that legacy. Whatever you do, whether what you do, like what you want to do with your life or not with your career, just do the best you can do at whatever you are doing. It doesn't matter whether you're acting, you're singing, you're pushing carts. Just try to push to be, the best at, give the most you can at whatever you're doing. So after my undergrad, sorry, this is really long-winded, Brett. I went to, and sorry, my dogs are right here gonna start wrestling, so I might have to mute myself. But I went to work at the Guadalupe Center, which is a fairly large nonprofit here in Kansas City that provides a lot of social services and that has an education system, and predominantly the Latinx, Hispanic communities here in town. And so I was a staff accountant for them for a few years. I was very, very fortunate to be selected for a national fellowship through an organization called NowCab, which provided leadership training for future Latinx professionals. It was that instance that really changed the trajectory of my career. I trust me, I busted my butt in my accounting role, but going through that experience helped me realize what my strengths were. And I think that's what a lot of us have done. I know Susan and Brett and Adam can all share that it takes some of us, years to figure out what are our true strengths, what are we really good at. And this opportunity helped me realize that my best attribute or what I'm really good at is developing relationships. And so that is why I am really excited about and why I really enjoy my role as a business development officer, because my primary role is to develop relationships, is to keep people in the know, to know about what's going on around the community, and to be that connector to information, resources, opportunities. So yeah, after that fellowship, I found AltCap, and almost 5 years later, I'm here, and I'm really excited to be with you all today. Thank you.
Those were great, guys. We do remember the Q&A. If you're sitting at home, we have 74 people in the crowd. If you're sitting at home and you want to ask questions, this is the perfect opportunity to do it using the Q&A feature at the bottom. But I'm going to start off with one. Can you tell us what your typical day is like?
I don't have a typical day. I'm a lot like Davin as far as the connecting, but it's some of it's networking, some of it is going to Zoom meeting, a lot of Zoom meetings like this. I respond to questions from our customers. I take care of our customers. I fill out applications. Maybe they need a credit card, or maybe they call and say, hey, I need a loan. Which one of your loan officers would be best? And sometimes, I qualify them, and that's what Davin was talking about. Sometimes we can't help everybody. I wish we could, but I was so thrilled to meet Davin and develop that relationship, because then I can say, hey, try AltCap. They would be wonderful. So I do a lot of referrals to other outside organizations and other lenders. There are some asset-based lenders that can help people that are good. So what else? It's just a variety that I do like that. So it's a little bit of analytical. It's a little bit of connecting. It's a little bit of a lot of sales. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'll share working for a fairly small organization. So when I first started at AltCap, there was 4 of us on the team. So I kid you not, I did a little bit of everything, whether it be janitorial stuff or administrative work or scheduling things. But now fast forwarding to today, pre-COVID, it was a lot of coffee, lunch, meetings, in and out of the office. I probably spent maybe a third of my time throughout the day within the office. The rest was out in the community, out meeting with people, going to look at different businesses, those sorts of things. But now, like as Suzanne mentioned, it is a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of phone calls. We were very fortunate to gain the support of a lot of our community partners, foundations, corporations, banks, to help us stand up a $5 million COVID relief and recovery loan fund. And so we were able to basically provide access to capital to a lot of our non-essential businesses that had to, close their doors or limit the capacity, so that they were able to weather that storm. Now we see that there's a resurgence, so we're going to have to sort of rethink what that's going to look like. But that's, at the end of the day, what Susan and I are trying to do is be a resource to our constituency, to our community. And we understand what our limitations are, what we are able to do, and we want to make sure that we connect people to the right resources. So an example for yesterday, I actually helped manage a program. I ran to 5 different stores to find things to build a box for our graduation this evening. And then I set up Zoom information and printed off certificates. So, I think each and every day is different. There's certainly a lot of things that we do within our roles that we don't love, but we understand that we have a certain responsibility to get the job done. And I think that's a good reminder to all of you students that although you may not like the homework or the assignments that you're given, it's so important that you complete them. And I know sometimes it might be painful, but just remember, I think you want to establish really good habits at your age so that when you get to where we're at in our careers, it's second nature. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. You don't get overwhelmed by it, because I think a lot of times folks that maybe didn't want to complete tasks when they were younger get overwhelmed when they have a lot of work to do and they're not able to handle that stress.
I love how you guys both hit on the humanitarian nature of what you do, by the way. Like, you're all about helping people. That's what your job is, and you're just using those skills and the hard work and the things that you've learned along the way to do good for others. That's a great message. Our Q&A is starting to fill up with stuff. So Adam, if you want to pull some of the questions off of that, we won't be able to get to them all, but let's start running through some of these.
Okay, so one of the questions that we received is, I'm a high school student starting my business on Etsy. Do you have any advice?
So first of all, congratulations for starting. I think that's 90% of the battle. So, and this young, I mean, yeah, the only advice I have is just keep going, don't quit. Just keep going, keep doing it. Ask questions. One of the mistakes I made when I was very young was feeling like I had to know it all, and that I would look stupid. And I think when a lot of times you'll hear, what's your superpower? And that's what I'll say sometimes, is that I'm not afraid to look stupid anymore. I ask the dumb questions, and half the other people, a major proportion of the people in the room have the same questions. So just keep asking questions when you don't know something, because I guarantee you most other people don't. So just keep going, and congratulations.
Yeah, I'll echo the same thing. Just to get a little bit deeper, if this is something you're truly passionate about, I think the best advice I can give is start tracking your income and your expenses. So just keep track of all your sales that you're making, and keep track of all the money you're spending on your supplies, so that as you continue to grow this business out, if you do want to continue to grow and expand, you'll have some financial history. As Suzanne can share, a lot of the banks and even organizations like ours want to see what your track record has been. We determine how much risk is involved with your business based on your history, what you've done, what have you accomplished so far. So again, it's establishing those good behaviors early on will help you reach where you want to go.
Boy, that's spoken as a true accountant, Davin. I was just having this conversation yesterday with the business owner who sent me this beautiful financial package. Everything was organized. And I tell you, bankers look at, people that are organized like that. That gives us comfort, and it does give you an advantage in getting the assistance that you need. It's surprising how something that small, it feels that small. It's super important.
So we'll go to the next question. So we have a student who's from the CAPS network, and they say that they're excited to be here and learn from all of you. As a professional in Kansas City, what motivated you to participate in this event today?
You go, Davin.
I'm just extremely passionate about our future generation. I'm actually a board member for an organization called Startland, which I guarantee there are some folks on this Zoom that have experienced the Mecca Challenge at some point in their high school career. And so I just really love helping grow and connect our future generation to opportunities, and hopefully share my experience to help you determine what you want to do, or give you some inspiration at the end of the day. Because honestly, our future is in your hands. So.
And I did it just because Brett asked me. And I love Northland Cabs. I mean, it's obviously an organization that our bank supports, and I wish it had been available for my children. Our school was not a member, but I think it is fabulous, because the experience that you're getting through Northland Cabs is just amazing. Just what an amazing group.
So the next question, of course, Brett has to applaud in the background. So the next question that we have is, as a 17-year-old business owner, do you have any ideas on how to get capital? with being a minor, I don't think I can get a loan. So do you have any other ways?
Yeah, I mean, so a few ways that what you can leverage is your social capital. And so social capital is all your friends, your family, your network, people in your community. So that would be the first place that I would start as a 17-year-old. There are platforms such as Kiva, Indiegogo, Honeycomb Credit. Those are different platforms that you could create a campaign on. And a lot of these are loans, but they're typically, fairly low interest or 0% loans. Again, I would have to double check the age, but you could probably have your parent, one of your guardians or parents sign up for you. And then as far as like access to credit, I mean, yeah, I would probably leverage your friends and family, ask them for money first. And if they're not willing to support you, which they should, but if they can't, I know a lot of families, especially during this time, can't support or don't have the additional capital to do that. Definitely I would probably rely more on your sales. So really trying to generate more revenue. If you can't get enough supplies, again, I'd probably fall back on your parents to see if there's any support just to get you started, and probably let them know you'll pay them back as soon as you get the money for it. So, Suzanne, I don't know if you have any better advice.
Yeah, I would echo Davin. It's tough, and friends and family. I don't remember the statistic, but it's something like 80-90% of all small new businesses leverage friends and family money. It's very difficult to get credit for new businesses. And you can, as a minor, you can always have someone co-sign for a loan, but I know a lot of us don't have co-signers. So another resource you might check out is the Mid-Continent Public Library's Square One for Small Business programming. They have a lot of great they're all free programs. In fact, we are hosting today at lunch, we call it a Central Banks Eat and Educate. And the topic is the basics of Facebook ads. But one of the other topics that Davin usually participates in is funding options for new business. And we'll have that, we'll do that next year again. And we talk about this topic, and it's tough. There's no easy answers, but I would check out Square One and see what kind of resources there are in that program.
And I'll just throw one thing out there too. I don't know what it is that you're selling or what service you're providing, but a lot of times you can do pre-orders. So you can maybe say, hey, I will give you this product or service in the future if you pay me in advance. You've got to have all your marketing and all your stuff together. But a lot of times there are people that will pay in advance for a product or service in the future.
Yeah, that's kind of like a Kickstarter, right? And how that functions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's how a lot of the Kickstarter campaigns will work. It's like, I'll give you a sticker, a t-shirt, and free access to this for 25, 30, whatever dollar amount. So that's definitely another avenue to explore.
So the next question that we have in chat is, how does one get credit? Credit is so important. How does a 19-year-old get started? And what is the min credit score for AltCap to receive a grant?
Well, I'll just say at 19, you should be able to qualify for some sort of a small credit card product. I would probably start at your bank, whoever you bank with. It's definitely a good starting place. And they'll start you off with a low credit amount. I would probably, the way that I went about it is I would use it for some of my, like gas or paying for lunch, things that I would typically pay cash for. I would probably at least start using it for those sort of things, and just slowly start building it up. And then once you get a little bit older, the importance of building your credit is to diversify your different credit streams. So having a revolving line of credit, having credit cards, having a term loan, having a mortgage, student loans, like all the different varieties of credit products will help rise and build your credit. So definitely be responsible about it. But and most creditors won't allow you to take on more than you can handle. But early on, it's so important to establish, again, those good behaviors of paying it back on time, things like that. As far as the credit score for AltCap, we don't have a minimum credit score. For us, we're more concerned about your credit history. That's why it's so important to at least pay the minimum amount on whatever credit you take out in the future. Please remember that if you don't have the full amount to pay, at least pay the minimum so that you stay in good standing with the creditor. That way there's no negative reports on there, and those one negative report can really drag your score down. So
I would agree with Davin again. There are secured credit cards that you can get. You can get a simple loan against a CD. That's another easy one in the early days that you can do. The biggest thing is just pay your bills. Just pay your bills. Get some bills. Get the credit card. Get a couple credit cards in your name and pay those off, because Davin's right. That's what banks don't typically have a minimum credit score. But they do look at how you have paid your bills. And that's so important.
So the next question that we have is, I am a high school student starting my own bakery, and I was wondering, how can you forecast your financial spendings?
well, it's a good question. How much time do we have again, Brett? So I think a few things to do where I would start is really start to figure out everything that you're going to need for your business. So do you need a physical location? If you're selling any sort of food-based product, you're going to have to at least work out of a shared commercial kitchen. Typically, if you're selling any sort of food product, you can't just bake it in your house. If it's a registered business, it's definitely not the best practice. And so you want to figure out how much money you're going to be spending on commercial kitchen, on marketing, if you want to pay yourself, all your ingredients, those sorts of things. And then start to figure out, okay, how many cakes do I need to sell in order to pay for those basic expenses? And then as you continue to grow and start to understand what the demand is for your product, you can really start to, figure those things out. I would say probably in the baking industry, it's very seasonal. Although there's always birthdays and like different things throughout the year, you can anticipate the holiday seasons on certain baked goods. You can anticipate graduations at a certain time of the year. I would definitely look at the seasonality of the industry, and just look at some of the businesses that you idolize or look up to, right? Who are some of the bakeries that you are striving to be? And a lot of times, a lot of these business owners were exactly in your shoes. So they are more than happy to share some information with you. You just have to be comfortable with asking.
I was going to say finding a mentor is important. And I would also we've got a lot of classes for food trucks, and I believe a lot of that may be similar, and I think they probably have some classes on forecasting your financials, that sort of thing. So
I would say, the one thing about Suzanne and I, we're not exactly experts on any specific thing, but what we are experts at are knowing what resources you should be plugging into. And I would echo Mid-Continental Public Library have some of the best programming in town.
I'd like to throw in a quick plug too. Number one, we have a 1 o'clock session that has 2 restaurant owners. So Scott's Kitchen and Corner Cafe are both going to be there. And I would highly recommend that these would be great questions if you're interested in baked goods or something like that, to go listen to them and get some advice from them. And also I put in the Q&A too. Casey SourceLink is another website that I would throw out as you should go there and look at the resources they have on that website if you're interested in starting your own business. It's wonderful stuff.
Well, and the SBA, the Small Business Administration, obviously has a lot of good resources too.
So the next question that we have is, what was it like when you were our age and looking at all these different options?
It was confusing, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I really think you just have to try some things. And I think you heard that in Davin's, both of our stories. We tried a lot of different things until we found out what worked for us. And you do just kind of have to try things. So yeah, I can certainly understand what you're feeling right now. And when I was your age, I didn't have a lot of confidence. I was very shy. And you develop some of that as you get a little bit older. So
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Definitely. One thing for me was I really thought about a lot of the things that I was very passionate about and what got me excited. And honestly, community, this city, Kansas City, is something that I'm very proud of. I think a lot of us have that civic pride. We're very proud to be from Kansas City. We love our Chiefs and our Royals and Sporting and all the other whatever team you love here. So I wanted to figure out what could I do to be impactful for my city. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if it was, that's why I went to go work at the Guadalupe Center, but I realized sitting behind the computer all day, just crunching spreadsheets, wasn't making the impact that I really wanted. And I felt like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing at that time. And so you just have to be willing to take some risk. I think it's all about just try some of the things that you think you might like. And if you don't, you're so young, you can always change paths and careers. I think Suzanne and I, we love what we do, but we know, tomorrow we might change our minds. And we are definitely different in age, but it's never too late for either of us to pivot into something else. Because all the skills and the things that you're learning at this age and throughout the rest of your career, you're going to take with you wherever you go. You'll take those relationships, you'll take the things that you've learned from each experience with you, to provide value wherever you go. So
I'll add that volunteering can be very important, because that's also where you can find out, do I like doing this kind of thing? And that's been very important in my life, is the volunteer organizations I've been a part of and helping me figure out what I want to do.
So what are the most essential skills that you need in order to enter your profession?
I'll say for me, it's knowing how to be empathetic, how to put yourself into someone else's shoes. Because a lot of the folks that we interact with, we have to be able to relate and properly communicate both to them and to our team what their challenges are, and figure out what solutions can we provide them. And it's not only for clients, it's also for partners and investors or stakeholders, whatever you want to call them. You need to understand how, put yourself in their position. What do they want to gain out of this? Okay, and then how do you take that back and bring it back to your team to say, okay, this is what they really want from us. How can we communicate this? How can we position it in a way that's going to satisfy what their needs are? So that's going to be probably and I probably stole Susan's thunder there. I saw you like, but that's probably for me the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's the first word that came to my brain too, Davin, was empathy, but also relationship building is really important, very important, because people do business with other people that they know, like, and trust. And then being a good connector is obviously important for both of us. We've already mentioned that. And then the analytical skills are important. And then just an attitude of service, I think, is important in what we do in banking and finance. Serving others is very important to both of us. And it can make you very successful.
Yeah. And sorry, I know we've been echoing the relationship building, but you know, there is some things I've learned. There's some little tricks over the years that I've learned. It's doing things for others when they're not expected. And I think that shows a lot about your character. It shows that you're not transactional. I think many of us don't like to feel like we're just another statistic or we're another number. So it's so important to, you know, try to be present in whatever you are doing, and try to do things for others, you know, when they're not asking for things, and just being a resource and showing that you truly care.
That's one of the questions is, do you, in the chat, is do you make money by referring a company? And no, I think for both of us, we enjoy seeing people connect and help each other. And that's really where we derive our satisfaction. And then that creates more social capital for us. And even though that's not what we're doing it because we want to give back, but it does make us more successful, because then people come to us when they need loans or when they need financing or when they have a question or when they want to get connected with. It just keeps us top of mind. But no, that is not for me anyway. I'm not motivated by money. Don't tell my boss.
Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, we're not paid monetarily, we're paid in social capital, and that sometimes can outweigh monetary value. It can get you access to certain people or opportunities that if you just had a lot of money, you wouldn't have access to those things. And I'm a testament, you know, I don't make a lot of money. I'm very comfortable, but I've been a part of so many awesome opportunities and been able to experience so many things solely because of that social capital.
Guys, this has been fantastic, and it's 8:40. We have to wrap things up because we have another session that I got to prep for in 5 minutes. I have some speakers showing up for our 9 o'clock session. So that's all the time we have for today. I do thank you. I want to give a huge shout out to Susan and Davin for showing up today, taking their time to share their passion and their insight with us. And I hope you guys in the audience, I hope you enjoyed hearing about you know, one of thousands of amazing career opportunities that exist right here in Kansas City. You don't have to leave to find a career that you love. That's one of the takeaways that I want you to get from here. Also, none of you guys mentioned standardized tests. That's amazing. You didn't mention bright flights and how you had to have a 36 on the ACT. That's amazing. You mentioned empathy and, you know, connecting and things like that as the essential skills. I love that. So, hey, when the session ends, participants, there's going to be a survey that pops up. If you could please take a minute or two, it won't take you very long at all. Just complete the survey for us and help us figure out, you know, what we can do better here. And if you want to know any more about information that's going on, you know, stuff you learned today, I'm sure you can reach out to these two on LinkedIn or other platforms, and they'd be happy to help you out because that's what they love doing. And you can also go to nebaworks.kc, nebaworkskc.org if you want to find more information about the Northland Education and Business Alliance and what we can do and how we partner with your schools. So these are the kinds of things we're interested in doing. We're interested in shaping your future and helping you get where you want to be. So with that in mind, thank you so much again to our speakers. Thank you to the audience for showing up and being engaged with us, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Take care. I saw a question, some tips for interviewing. Be confident.
There you go. There you go.
That's the key, is confidence.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Take care.